Hello there, Vic Benedict here. We're playing Gears of War 2, and this is my insane difficulty guide and walkthrough. We're currently on Act 5-4. It is entitled Tenuous Footing. So we've got some early chapter weirdness to deal with right now, even though it looks a lot more confusing than it is. All you have to do on this part is just move the platform over to the left, allow Dom to walk onto it, and then move it over to the right at the area that I'll show you where down here there's some grubs shooting at you. It doesn't matter if you set Dom down in the middle of these enemies. He's not going to die at this point, because at this point it's going to transfer over to you. He's going to pull the crane so that you can then have the crane to walk on or run over to where he's at. So you'll want to take out those enemies to the left because they could kill him rather easily. And at this point, though, he can get killed. So you'll want to get over to him if he needs any help. But do you remember in the last, I think it was 5-2, and even on 5-3 I mentioned that you can't shoot the grapple hooks or the cords to knock off the enemies that are grappling up to where you are sometimes. Well, you actually can. You can shoot the grapple hook itself and also the cable, and you can knock them off. The only thing that makes it deceiving is the fact that the reticle, when you hover it over the hook or the cable, it doesn't turn red. So it's deceiving that in that respect, because it always turns red, the reticle that is, except for that one feature of the game. So you spend the entire game looking for the reticle to change, and it doesn't. But in Gears of War 3 it does turn red, so it's less confusing. But when you get over here, there's a couple of enemies to kill, and you're going to be going down these inclines over here, tripping spawns. This is the first of, I think, 3 spawns. There's just 2 grapplers, and then when you get down over to like right over here, you'll spawn a mauler, and you'll probably want to go up as high as you can when you kill this guy, because when you do finish him off, there will be a reaver that spawns. And this is the penultimate chapter too that I was mentioning in the previous video, and it's not very lengthy, and it's comprised of several different set pieces that are checkpointed pretty frequently, so there shouldn't be too many things that cause you any problems, I wouldn't think, on this chapter. But you do need to be careful over here because of, obviously the rockets. On the pieces of cover below, there are some covers that will knock you out of cover and stagger you if the rockets hit where you are, anywhere nearby where you are. It happens from time to time, and it can just kind of unsettle you, but it doesn't necessarily kill you. It can result in you getting finished off by something else that's happening in the environment. But if it's just the Reaver, he's not going to probably finish you off because of the time it takes between his rockets to fire. So, but if you go up to that cover, I was going to mention, that cover doesn't stagger you, so that's why I like to go up there, and it's just a lot safer from getting killed from any sort of splash or anything like that. So I am going to ditch the long shot, pick up the hammer burst. I did restart this chapter from scratch at the beginning, so you'll notice that I did start with the customary default garbage that the game likes to give you. But when you come down here, you're going to get a checkpoint. There's going to be a few tickers, just stray tickers, no Cantus. And there's also going to be a Scorcher that walks over to you from the left. You can sometimes kill him with the explosion of the tickers, so if you time it properly, you'll notice that his weapon dropped over there, so that I know that he did get killed. But when you push forward up here to about right where I am now, there's going to be a couple more tickers, as well as a couple of, at least one grub that likes to hide behind those blocks over there. So just you'll want to spawn those enemies, push back, I would say, because those tickers are going to cause you problems. And then it was at about this point that I did realize that you could shoot these hooks off. I'm sorry for the confusion. Did you see what I did there? You can knock them off. So I was just confused about. Well, I wasn't really confused about it. I just didn't think that the game accommodated you knocking those off. This being an early Gears of War game, and simply the fact that the reticle doesn't turn red. But I like to use Dom for shielding over here, and kind of just hide behind him, and just take care of all of the hooks and the cables and things like that. After a certain amount of time, this roof is going to collapse and we're going to fall, and you're going to get a checkpoint. You do need to be careful though, because you're in really close proximity to these guys, so they can easily kill you. And there are a couple of moments where a bunch of them come up with the hooks at once, but by that time this thing should be collapsing, and then you're going to get that checkpoint that I was talking about. So then when you come up here, there's a Scorcher as well as a couple more drones. The Scorcher's flamethrower can easily come into this area where we're at now, so definitely be careful. I like to throw a grenade over there to get him because he just has too much HP, and I always seem to miss his tank. It seems like it's pretty difficult to hit for me for some reason. But yeah, just one more chapter after this, and I wanted to mention in general the difficulty of this, because I think one of my commentaries got lost in which I was talking about the difficulty of this particular Gears of War. This Gears of War is not that difficult compared to some of the later games. I would say overall, this game is definitely not as difficult as Gears of War 3, and its insane campaign, Gears of War 2 that is pretty lax. I mean, if you're coming in and you're playing this for the first time, definitely it's going to be challenging. I'm not saying that, but comparing it to Gears of War 3's campaign, where that really tests your patience and skill and metal, things like that. So its insane campaign doesn't fill me with the same sort of inner terror that the third game causes in me, just at the thought of it. So I do think that for new players, this is not going to be as difficult as the third game. Third game is easily the most difficult one. So after you chainsaw that, there's a couple of enemies on the other building there. I think if you just run over to them, you'll fall and then get to the next area. But I didn't want to have them shoot me while I was running over to them, and have no way of properly editing the footage and having it look halfway decent. But when we do get down to the next area, there's going to be a Cantus that you're going to be dealing with, as well as a couple more grapplers. Here we go. So there's just those couple of guys, and then this guy over here to deal with, and then you'll see those hooks coming up. I hope that the walkthrough has been something that is helpful to you, and if you weren't using it for a walkthrough itself, that it was worthwhile to at least watch and maybe save for a later time when you are taking on the campaign itself. But you can carry the hammer of dawn into this chapter if you like, but it won't matter because the next chapter is a beast mounting chapter. There's no final boss, and it's just that. So I really have enjoyed making the walkthrough, and I hope that it's a lot more helpful than the previous walkthrough that I had, because let's face it, that one was made in 2012 or something like that, so it was made a long time ago. But when this thing is falling like this, you need to be in cover. If you're not in cover, you are going to get killed. So just go up to any cover and just hunker down, as it were, and you won't get killed. And then I think there's just one more part after this. You're going to be killing the pilot of a Brumac, and all it is just doing a couple of SWAT turns to a hallway, running down the hallway, and then killing the enemy that greets you. You don't have to do the SWAT turn, but it is a safe move that you can do if, of course, Dom doesn't get in your way and disrupt the SWAT turn. I think you'll see that he does get in my way and mess up my SWAT turn. Yeah, see, he fucked my SWAT turn up. I just love that. But overall, Dom hasn't been the huge problem that I usually thought of him as on this walkthrough. But maybe that's just luck and circumstance, or maybe even me getting better. But I hope that translates to you getting better as well too. So that is the penultimate chapter, and I will see you in the final chapter of Gears of War 2. Please take care.